So we're here with Steve Christini from Christini All-Wheel Drive Motorcycles. And yes, that's right, all-wheel drive. Explain that, Steve.
All right, well thanks. Yeah, all-wheel drive motorcycles. We make our motorcycles in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They're all-wheel drive and they power the front wheel. So our bikes are unique in that we're the only company in the world that's commercialized an all-wheel drive system.
And so explain to the layman the technology, how this works.
Okay, yeah, so we start with initially a stock bike, and in this case we have our motorcycle here, which is our production bike, and we get the power off the counter shaft of the motorcycle. So when you go down on this, there's this cover here, this nice looking cover. The counter shaft of the motorcycle has a second sprocket. There's a chain that goes up to another sprocket, which then goes into a transfer gear case that's inside underneath the gas tank. So the drive shaft, it goes all the way up into the head tube. So there's a drive shaft inside here with a gear on the top, the gear on the bottom that counter rotate. These two gears go down into the triple clamps where you have two different drive chains, one on the top and one on the bottom. Those drive chains then split the power. There's two drive shafts here, and I can spin those shafts for you. You can see how they counter rotate. And then the power goes into the shafts, which are a linear bearing spline. This is part of the magic too. The drive shafts actually can telescope all the way through this, all the way up into here while they rotate and activate the power. The power then goes down to the front wheels where there's two gearboxes and a front freewheel mechanism. So the power is driven only in one direction. So we call it all-wheel drive because it works like an all-wheel drive car, and similar to what the original Quattros used to work. The drive system runs 68% ratio. So the drive is actually a rear-wheel drive, and it's powering the front, but it's not transferring the energy of the system. So what's happening is while you ride, you get traction to the rear, and then if it slips, it transfers power into the front wheel. So imagine pedaling a bicycle but not putting any energy into it. So as a result, it makes it very efficient and transfers power on the fly. One really good example would be when you're riding a dirt bike, climbing up a hill, you get on a rock, normally you'd spin the tire and start digging a hole. As soon as that slips, it transfers power into the drive system, into the front wheel. That front wheel grabs, pull the bike forward, the rear regains traction, and then off you go. So it's traction control. As much as it's power to the front, it keeps the rear from slipping and spinning. So it makes it very efficient. It feels like you're on rails when you're climbing hills, and cornering and acceleration very fast.
Oh, it's pretty neat stuff.
There you go.
And so for Canadians, what do you got? Where can they get them? All that stuff.
Well, we're just starting to bring the bikes in. We have several dealers on the West Coast. We're establishing some dealerships on the East. We have one north up in Peterborough with Accelerated Technologies right now, and they're going to be having this bike go up there. But what we're doing with this is we're going to be bringing in a bunch of different models, which we have 6. We have our entry-level model that starts at $7,000 US. There'll be a little bit add-on for the Canadian market and getting them up here, and that's our 450. Then we have 2 street legal models, which is really exciting for people. We have a dual sport, which is 7,800, and a supermoto, which is 8,200. And then we go up from there to a enduro race model, which runs an FCR race car kit. And then we move to our 2-strokes, which are gas powered, 300 and 200, 250, which we use in the X Games and all the international extreme enduros. And they start at $9,096 for the Eastern. So we're really price competitive. We have a street legal option, which is exciting for people. A great entry-level bike that will crawl up anything. And then our race bike that the 2 of the best riders in the world race in the X Games.
Excellent. All right, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Take care, Steve.
All right, see you.